Afternoon, and welcome to the webinar hosted by Numerical Analytics Instrument Private Limited. So today's webinar will focus on IBDP, and the special highlight for this webinar is the overview of TI-Nspire CX2 and how to use TI-Nspire CX2 in IBDP and many more, like using it for a function, using it for algebra and all those sort of things. And today we have two of our speakers. They are from the Doon School. One is Mr. Anjan Chaudhary. Hi, Anjan. He's the head of the department for mathematics. And we have Mr. Manoj Sharma. Hi, Manoj, sir. He's a faculty of mathematics and he's also assistant house master in Doon School. So without a further ado, I would like Mr. Anjan Chaudhary and Mr. Manoj Sharma to start with the webinar. And over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just introduce what we plan to do today slowly. And first of all, welcome to the students. It's also the time of the year when we are also celebrating students coming back to school. I like the name of the webinar, Back to School. And similarly, we are a boarding school. And a boarding school without children is quite a sad affair to be in. We have all gone through that for quite a long time. And we are slowly now getting back students on campus. The IB program, if you just look at it, has gone through quite a churn over the last 1 year. I'm sure the students will be knowing the new curriculum and how it has developed. Unfortunately, India also went through a period when we ourselves could not conduct the exam this year, which would have been the first exam with the new curriculum. One of the big highlights of the program is the use of technology today. Manoj sir, I would like to bring in you here now. Why you think, what is your opinion, where we have all seen that our students today, they are very good with technology. But you would have seen in our school as well, when it comes to this special machine, which is called the TI-Nspire CX, the non-CAS version, students find it uncomfortable. Why do you think that's been the journey? We have seen that in our school.
Yes, Mr. Anjan, you are absolutely right. This time, because due to the pandemic, the school was not physically, classes not conducted physically, it was online. So this calculator, as a GDC, is like maybe challenge for the students, especially for IBDP student, because if they do it physically, it will be more comfortable. They feel more comfortable, and rather than use learning online basis. So it's thanks to TI-Nspire this for team conducting this kind of webinar and helping a student. They will learn something from us also and from the others members also, panelists. And I think we are looking forward to see each and everyone participation also.
No, thank you, sir. I think that was well put. Also, just to add something more there, I have seen that when we look at this machine or this calculator, it follows a lot of math principles. So it's not just typing a button. So there's a difference between a calculator where we are sometimes clicking in some buttons and looking at a display calculator where it's also a certain steps or certain processes that we follow, which we are supposed to do had we got a pen and paper. The beauty of this program is, the beauty of this calculator is, it allows us to see a lot of animations. And in today's learning, didactic learning, one of the powerful tools is we need to see movements.
Correct.
We need to see, we cannot be satisfied with a static movement. For example, just to add the context and build up the discussion today. For example, if I just take a very basic quadratic today, it is impossible if I really don't know how does A surface out? How does B move? What's the movement of B? And this powerful tool allows us to see that so easily. And it makes our learning much more meaningful than just trying to show what a quadratic looks like. So to now add on, I would also request students to put in their questions on the chat. We will break up this program into 3 parts. Initially, I will request Manoj sir to take on from the beginning. and we are going to go slow so that your questions can also be answered. I will then come in after 45 minutes, around 4 o'clock. And then the last 15 minutes, we would focus on question and answers.
Yeah, thank you, Anjan. And I add one thing also, whatever I experienced with this calculator, this is very, very student friendly, user friendly, I can say, because they are not very complicated process to find it out, some like a function or particular key. It's very, very useful for the student and student friendly, I can say, even for us also.
So will we now get into the presentation, Manoj sir?
Yeah, should we start with the assessment objective in the practice?
Yeah, please. Would you share your screen?
Yeah, I will share my screen. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. So maybe I can just briefly start on this, and then we will take on from there. I think one of the strengths and highlights of the IB program is to look at the assessment objectives. And this is something beyond exam sometimes. And if you look at that fourth column, which talks about technology, I see this particular tool coming very, very handy for the students, primarily for paper 2, paper 3, and the big one, which is the exploration. So one can clearly see that knowing the GDC and as quickly as we can learn the tools, because I personally feel that this is not an endeavor that can finish in 2 months. You need to keep learning it on and on and on. So one can look at that in paper 1, technology is 0. That means it's a paper where this particular tool cannot be used. And paper 2, there is quite a large chunk where technology can be very handy, and we're going to demonstrate quite a bit of that from the time we begin after this particular slide. And we can also see paper 3. And let me just add a bit. This year in the May exam, we had a typical question from the investigative paper, but the initial part was completely, in fact, it would have been impossible had I not used the GDC for that particular question. And obviously the IA, where technology plays a very big role. Without further ado, I will now request Manoj sir to build on from the slides.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Anjan. Okay, everyone. Let me introduce this TI Inspire CX calculator. If you see this calculator, we divide into 3 major parts. You can see the one major part. This is the keys. This is called navigate zone, where you have a skip button, escape button, tab, on, dock, menu, etc. Now, when you press on, you will find this kind of window, right? And you have a calculator page, graph page, new document. And if it is save, you can go back and you can find it out your document also. So now the other thing is whenever you want to go back to like undo kind of thing. So use control and escape button. Like I use right now, if you see, if I use this on button, this will be like this. When you want to go back, the escape button. So that's a navigate zone. And the middle part, you can see it's like a up and down. You can move it up and down. This was up, down, left, right. You can go your cursor. And this is small like touchpad kind of thing. You can use it as a touchpad also. So this is called navigate zone, right? And it's very important. Key is menu and dock. These are the 2 very, very useful key where we have to use regularly. I will show you slowly how we use dock, how do we use menu. There are so many things are there inside menu. So today we will discuss algebra part. I will take algebra part, and Mr. Anjan Chaudhary will take graph part, right? Now the next part, which is this called math and numeric zone. The second zone is this. You can see here. I'm moving my cursor here. There is a control key, shift, var key, delete, and the numerics are there. And all functions like trigonometric function, logarithmic function, exponential, algebra, everything you can use it from here. Like for example, if you press this key, trigo, you will find so many functions, direct Trigo functions, inverse function as well as normal Trigo function. If you press shift and if you go, sorry, let me go back. Yeah. Okay. So if you just press this control and if you press this equal key, you will find symbols, less than, more than, not equal to, greater than, equal to, and such that, right? So these are the keys. Even X square also, whenever you have to type anything, you can do it. Exponential functions here, you can see here, logarithm function, all keys are here. The important keys, very, very important keys are these keys. You can see this key. This red line. There's a fraction, powers, surds, root, exponential, logarithmic, even there's so many things are there. Modulus also there, differentiation, integration, there's so many things are there. We will discuss slowly, one after the other. The next key is, you see, it's this like book kind of thing. This is like a shortcut. There's so many shortcuts are there. If you type these things, you can directly get the functions. Like if I have to like delete, so delete var variable, you have to delete, just press del del var var. So automatically you can delete. This is like a dictionary kind of thing. So this is also very important part. Whenever you're stuck and you want shortcut, you can go this one and you can check. There's so many things are there, right? You can see like this. There's so many shortcut keys are there. So that's the one. So this zone is also very important zone, which is like math and numeric zone. And the third part of the calculator is alphanumeric zone, where the alphabets are there. Whichever variable you have to type, you can use this alphabets. Even pi part is also there. You can see here pi, even iota, complex number we use, infinity, theta, degree also. Generally, most of the students ask, sir, where is the degree? So degree is under the key pi. The moment you press pi, it's come degree, like 30 degree or 40 degree. So these are the important keys. This is the space key. This is a space key, this one. So these are the three important part of this GDC as we discuss, right? Navigation zone, numeric zone, and alphanumeric zone. All right, I hope you understood. Now we'll come to this main part, that's come to this setting of this calculator. Okay, the setting. When you go to the setting language, generally we use English, US English, right? Setting is there. Under setting, document settings are there. There's a display digits. So this GDC, whenever you any calculation, it will give you up to 6 digits. And if you want like 3 digit, 2 digit, 4 digit, you can change it also. Like 5 digit you can change, or 6 digit. But generally we keep it in 6 digit. As you know that in paper 2 and paper 3, you have to write your answer in 3 significant figure until unless it is specified. So this is my advice. Leave your calculator in 6 digit, display digit, and convert it into 3 significant figures. The second is the radian. There's a radian or degree. This is also big confusion has happened because when you're doing calculation, sometime you have to find answer in degree or sometime in radians, or you enter sometime in degree or radian. So you can change it from here. But there is a shortcut also directly in calculator. I'll show you that also. The next part is exponential formula is normal, real and complex. Generally, we use real part. Whenever we use complex numbers, right? It's a part of your syllabus. Some of you maybe done it, or maybe you do it later. So complex number also you can use it, right? This is a complex. So these are the setting part. One, before to start any calculation, just check your setting should be like this. Okay, even decimal also. The bases are decimals. Now, when we move to this one, now go to the new, and the moment you press to new, you will find these many options here. The first part today I'll discuss with you calculator page, right? And Mr. Anjan Chaudhary will discuss you the graph page. Today I will discuss you only calculator page. So the moment you press calculator page, the page will become like this. This is your calculator page. And you can see here, this is written, radian is written, right? The moment you press this key, you can convert, it's converted into degree. This is a shortcut also. So please make sure whenever you're using any calculation, and if your data in degree, make sure this should be in degree. Or if it is radian, or you want answer in radian, this part should be in radian, right? So this is our direct key also. It's very easy to just press degree, radian kind of thing. Okay, so let me leave it in radian. All right, now I'll come to this basic algebra. Like for example, if I have to calculate 45 into, generally the student write dot. Dot is not applicable here. For multiplication, you have to use the sign multiplication. This sign is here, multiplication. It looks dot, but it's a multiplication, right? So when you have to press this multiplication 5 or 4, the answer will come directly. The moment you enter, you have to write 45 into 4, then you have to press enter. The moment you press enter, answer will come directly. Take another example. You can see I'm coming to this like bracket, then use control. This is the just under this division sign. This is a fraction. Control and then division sign, because this blue symbol you can see under the keys is used by control, and then press this key. So I press control and division sign, it comes fraction. And when you write it, like suppose you write 45 upon say 30, it give you answer. The moment you press enter, it will give you the simplified form. So in paper 2, paper 3, if you have an answer in such a manner, just directly type, answer will come in simplest form. The next question generally the student asks, how do we convert into decimal, right? So what we'll do that, this answers, you can type answers also can be converted into decimal. How? Just go to menu, see number, press menu and then go number. It's written convert to decimal. So the moment you press convert to decimal, it will come like this. And then you have to enter. The answers come in decimal. So whenever you want answer in decimals, you have to go to menu. I again repeat again. Go to, sorry. Let me take, sorry. Bracket, I'm taking fraction, say something, say 26 divided by or upon. You can just use this button also, key, and then say 20, right? And the moment you just press enter, the answer will be this. And you want answer in decimal. So what you have to do that, just type answers, or you can copy in this one, go to menu, go to number and convert to decimal. The moment you press convert into decimal, it will come like this. Then you have to press enter. The answer will come. So this is the way to convert fraction to decimal also. And generally we write answer in 3 significant figure. So it's very useful if your answer is coming fraction and convert into decimal. Let me take one more example to this one. Say, suppose we have to find 2 by 3 to the power. The power sign is this one. You can see this key. When you press this one, when you write 4, press enter, the answer will come 16 by 81. And you can convert it into decimal as I told you. Directly you can write it 16 by 81 also, and then convert to decimal. 16 by 81. Go to menu, go to number, convert to decimal, press enter, answer will come. And then you write answer in 3 significant figure. Okay, now let me take one more calculation part. Suppose I have to find slightly complicated calculation, right? If you use in paper 3 or paper 2. So let me take it this one. Let me go to cube root of, cube root. Let me take cube root of 7. I'm sure you got it. Control, and then I press this key. So it's come cube root 7. Then cube root 7, then plus. Let me take in some fraction also. So control division sign, say minus 3 upon 4, then say plus. Now we want mod or something. So mod sign you will get where? It will come here. You can see here. Mod, the moment you press this mod sign or magnitude, absolute value minus 13. I'm taking minus 30 purposely. And the moment you press enter, the answer will come. So you have to just type your calculation part or expression in the calculator, directly answer will come. So you can use in paper 2 and paper 3 very carefully and convert. It will come in decimal. If you want in fraction, suppose, right, which is generally not required, but if it is asked to fraction, what you have to do that, you just...
Manoj sir, can you just repeat this one more time? There is a note on the chat.
All right, I will repeat, sir. All right. So what you have to do, that this whole thing expression, Anjan sir? This is whole thing? All right. So let me take another example. Suppose we have a fourth root of, say, control and press this key. You can see this arrow key upside next to left side of x square under the second line. 4, then x square, and then arrow key. Press this key, control and that, control and this, control and this. Then any power, suppose you want the fourth root of, say, 12, right? Then press any calculation, say plus, then again a fraction, say some minus 12 by, say, 13, right? More complicated calculation, minus of mod, say, minus 4. So mod sign you will get from the key, this one, just after 9. The 9 is here, right hand side of 9. The moment you press this, you will get this bar. The mod will be in the last, is this one. And right minus, say, 7. Then enter, you have to enter this. The answer will come directly.
Manoj sir, may I just add something?
Please, John sir.
That negative sign, what you used for, there's one number, there's one key on the left-hand side of the enter, you know. Yeah. I would advise using that for negative, because the calculator sometimes, not this time it worked out, that the other sign is for the operation of subtraction. So whenever they're using something to indicate a negative, it's advisable to use this key to the left-hand side of enter.
Fantastic. Very good. Right. Thank you, John.
Sure.
So like John sir said, this key is also you can use as a negative sign. Thank you, sir. So for this one also, like me use, you can see, like sir is mentioned here, minus sign. And under that is the answer written. When you press control and when you press this key, answer will come. The answer means just previous answer. That means minus 6.06187. And then like you want to subtract again, then minus, like say 20, and then enter, answer will come this one. Is it fine? No. Is something wrong?
Sir, it got multiplied. There was a dot sign.
Oh, it's a multiply. It's a multiplication of
both have got multiplied, so it became plus.
Yeah, it's multiplied. It both get multiplied actually. It's not subtracted. So I think we have
you just delete the dot sign, will happen.
Yeah, it's
just to add to the Manoj sir, this negative sign is not a subtraction, it's just a negative. Okay, so for subtraction you have to use that key.
Exactly, correct. So this is a very important learning. Remember, children, this minus sign under this key is enter left to this. It's only for negative, not for subtraction. That's why this into is coming, right, Hasan? Because multi is showing multiplication, it's come dot. Because the moment you press this key, it's come into of negative, right? So I hope it's clear. All right. So let's move to the next. Suppose this one we want this answer we want in what? Fraction. So how we'll do this? Suppose I have to 121.237. If you want to convert into fraction, how we'll do that? Just go to menu, go to number. Number is very important tool, right? approximate to fraction. It will give you, if it is a rational numbers, it will give you correct fraction. If it is irrational number, it will give you approximate to fraction. So the moment you press that key, it will come like this, and enter, the answer will come like this. Okay. So same thing, another also like 23.5432. I want this into fraction. Go to menu, go to number, approximate to fraction, enter. The answer will come like this in simplified form. So this is the way to convert decimal to fraction also. Okay. Anjan sir, any question?
Yes, one thing, say you can just add. Can you just type say 45 plus just 45 into 20?
Okay, 45 into 20. Enter.
Yes, press enter. And say suppose you want to use the 900 for another calculation, you can just type in answer.
Oh yeah, just for this one, control. Yeah. Use control and this key. The answer will come.
Yeah, like, answer and then into whatever you want to do any operations.
Yeah, whatever you want. Like suppose you want to add 100. So 900 plus 100 will be 1000. So plus 100, it will come 1000. Yeah. So you have to, no need to type again. You have to use this control and this enter left side of enter key. That's answer. You can see it's written ANS also in blue. So that's why we're using control and this answer.
Manoj sir, I'll just add one more while we are on that thing of bringing back the previous answer. Okay. Yeah. If you use your top arrow key to bring back any entry that you've done before. So you use your top arrow key. Let's say you want to bring the fraction of 29429 over 120. See, now if you press answer, it will bring the previous answer, the last answer, right? 1000.
Yes.
Suppose you want to go back to 2-3 steps before and bring that term back and do some other calculation. If you use your top arrow,
it's like that.
And you hit enter.
Yeah, great, Johnson. Thank you.
Hit enter, it will come back. Yeah.
The enter, it will come that one, and then you can use it also. Very nice. So this
that was a nice.
Very nice, very nice. So if you want this 900 in some other case, so you want to add 900 into 5. So and go to this one, enter. It's come 9. Sorry, not here. Let me
put some operation.
Yeah. Then go to 900. Enter. Then you can add or subtract or multiply, whatever you want to do it. You can do that. Then it's like multiplication of 2. This come answer. Thank you. All right. Now the next thing is, how do we add page? That's also important. Learn. Like suppose I am continuing this kind of calculation. I want to add another page. So go to control and dock. He'll come calculator page or graph page. I want calculator page. So fresh page I can get it. This is the 1.1 for me, and this is 1.2 for me. How I did it? Control and dock. You can see it's written plus page under that. So whenever you use this blue command, use control. So that's my second page. Now, whenever we have to define any variables, like suppose you have to use A something, B something, or C something. So you have to define first.
Sorry,
and then after, yes.
Manoj, there is a question from some Loki. Sir, can you repeat how to multiply from past 2 terms?
Past 2 terms. Okay, all right. Like for example, want to go this calculation, right? If I have to use this one, is it this?
Now, last 2 terms, I know what does it mean, but
just use any 2 terms. I think what he's trying to say is that, like the top arrow key, just bring back any 2 terms and just multiply them. I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
You mean that?
You just select enter.
Either you want to just select and then you can do this one.
Times, select another one.
Multiply of like say some other value, say 900.
Yeah, that's that's what he said. Yeah.
You mean that?
Yeah, he said that like what he did right now. I guess he's saying that. So it's basically.
Yeah, he's also saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There was one question some student asked in the Q&A about how to delete a page. And while Mr. Manoj is helping us look at adding a page, I want everyone to know that, sometimes when the page gets too full, like, you have to use a scroll bar to go up and down. Those are one of the reasons why you want to add another page. But sometimes there's also need to delete the page. Okay. And so you just can go to dock Manoj sir, if you can just go to doc.
Yeah.
Go to doc, page layout, page layout, and delete page.
Delete page. Yeah. You can delete that page also. Yeah. Right. So escape button always you have to use for back to go back. All right. Now I'll just define. You can define a variable in 2-3 different ways. I'll just tell you 1 or 2 ways, and whichever you feel comfortable, you can use that one. The one is the moment you type define, one way is this one, define. And if like suppose define A says something equal to, I'm taking, let's say, fraction of 9 by say 21, and then I'll enter. So it's done. The moment you can see done, it means it is defined, right? So this same number 9 by 21, it will be used. You can use it for further. I'll just show it to you. Now, 9 by 21 is not simplified form. If you want to
sir, yes. Can you just show one more thing? Can you just go to menu once?
Okay, sure. Menu.
Yeah, can you just go to menu actions?
Okay, action. Here you can define.
And the word define is also there.
Also there. Yes. Thank you. So the define word is there in action. You can either type from here or you can just type define, D-E-I-F-N also. Like let me take another variable. B is equal to say my 4. I'm taking small number, say done. Now if I want this value of A, so the moment I press A, it's already defined. You can see it's highlighted. It's a bold. In the beginning, it is small a, that's A is not highlight. It's not bold. But the moment you press use that A again, it's like bold. It's highlighted. It means this A is already defined. So whatever operation you use now, it will take the value of A 9 by 21, which is simplified form. If I want the press enter, it's 3 by 7. Again, I'll mark A. If I say plus 2, enter, it will give me answer directly. So you have to define word variable, and then the variable you can use it for any further calculation, algebra. The other method. Hello. Oh, sorry. All right. Can you hear me, Anjan sir?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. All right.
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah. The other way of defining any variable is, this is also important part. If you want to define, say, A already defined, B is already defined, let me define, say, X. So press Control and this key, right hand side of 9. This is very important key. It says that X is defined as whatever value you take it that one. Let me take any fraction value. Mostly I'm taking fraction value because like complicated part. You can take other also. The moment you press this one, it's X is defined. Now, if I want A plus X, my A is already defined. That's why it's a bold. I want to add my X. X is also defined. You can see this X is also what? It's highlight. It's bold. The moment I press enter, it will give me the sum of A and X, A plus X. I can use 2 times of A minus 3 times of say X. It will give me the value of that. So any operation you can use it, but whenever you use variable, you should define first. And I told you that 2 ways to define. One is just type define or go to menu and action. It will come define the variables, or you can define the variable as I define X. Right? Okay. Let me take it another like function. How we define a function. So let's define a function like f of x. I'm taking here f of x. For define, to define function, I have to go control and I have to define like such a way. F of x. But this x, you can see it's highlighted. So this x is taking same as the previous x. So be careful. If you're defining another new variable, so make sure the moment you type any variable, if it is bold, it means it's already defined. So if I have to define delete the variable, how to do it? Delete the variable. We can delete variable also. The delete variable is you can write del variable, VAR, del variable, which variable you want to delete? Say X, I want to delete the variable. The moment you could say it's done, that means variable X is gone. Now, if you type X, it's not bold now. So if you use multiple times the same variable for different value, you can add or you can delete. You can define and you can delete also. Now I'm taking another value of X now. So I'm defining another value of X, say here, say 4. It's define now X like this. So there are different ways are there.
Manoj sir, can you show one more thing? Can you just go to the variable key once?
Yes, variable key, yeah. Variable, yeah, var key.
Yeah, var. You can see the 3 are already there, A, B, and X.
Yes.
Whichever you have defined are all already there.
Yeah. These the A, B, X is already defined. So basically, this is a store of your variables. The storage of your variable. Whichever the variable you define, it's come here. You can see which variable is defined and which variable you want to delete. Right.
Please continue.
So, yeah, thank you. Let's say delete variable. Delete variable. I'm deleting variable, say X. Sorry, space X. The moment is done. Now I'm defining a function because function is used very many places. So f of X is defined as control press this key. It's defined as this. Say I'm taking quadratic function, say X square is here, minus 4X plus 3. So this my function is defined, it's done. It means if this function is defined, the calculator, we remember function fx is x square minus 4x plus 3. And if you want the value of, say, f of 2, because the moment you press F, it's come bold. It means it's already defined. F of 2 value, that will come out to be minus 1. 2 square 4, 4 into 2, 8 minus plus 3, it's come minus 1. So f of 2 directly come. If you want something else, you can get it. Suppose sometime we have to find the value of f of x for x equal to 1, x equal to 3, x equal to minus 5. 3 different. You have a chance here in the calculator, you can directly get all values. So for that one, what you have to do that? Go to and write function f, bracket, and then you have, its important part is you have to use this curly bracket. It's here, you can see control and press this. I want the value of f of 1, so 1, comma, f of 3, let me write 3, f of, I want minus 5 also, say minus 5. The moment you come out and then press enter, it will give you 3 different values. At x squared, f of 1 is 0, f of 3 is also 0, and f of minus 5 is 48. You can calculate, it will come same thing, right? If I change it, this one, and it will cut something different also. So this is a very important tool also, but with the help of this defined word, you can find the multiple values also. So you can say the coordinates also you have got 1, 0, 3, 0, and minus 5, 48. 3 points you already got it. So this is the way to define. All right. The other way also there, and one more way is also there to find the value of the function at particular value. So for that one, I'll just tell you again, it's x square. Just type another equation, say x square. I'm taking the same equation, minus 4x plus 3. Now I want the value of this at x equal to, say, 2. So I have to write x squared minus 4x plus 3 at x equal to 2. So for to control and press this key, equal sign, press equal sign. This sign, this is a x squared minus 4x plus 3 for x equal to, we want x equal to 2. It is another way to write it. One way is write a function and then find f of 2. But here I'm just writing this equation and then using this sign such that x equal to 2. The moment you press enter, answer comes same thing. You can see previous step, this one, f of 2 is minus 1 for this function, and f of 2, that means x equal to 2, x square minus 4x plus 3 is also minus 1. So the 2 different ways are there to find out the value of the function at particular point. Anjan sir, any question from the student side?
No, I think it's perfect. Please continue.
All right. All right. Now, some student maybe think, because my student, they ask, suppose I want the value of this expression for x is less than 2. But let x equal to less than 2, there are infinite values, right? So calculator will not give you the answer. It give you error. So I'll just show it to you. Let me take this function only. Say this one, and say such that x, if I say x, less than sign is also there, or say less than, say 2. It will give me error because x is not defined actually. It'll give you the error, right? Variables not defined. It show me like this. Okay. So remember, by this way, we get only particular value of x.
Manoj sir, just recap short, once how you defined. Just
somebody asked for that definition. Can you just show again how to define a variable, a function? Okay. Someone
define the variable. See, there are two ways are there. First is you just write a function. Let me write again. Function x. Sorry, I've already defined function f is already defined. Let me take gx, another new function. Gx is defined as, say, 2x square minus 5x plus 3. Enter. So this is like a defined, means y is 2x square minus 5x plus 3. Now if you want g of 2, so you give me the value of 2x square minus 5x plus 3 at x equal to 2. That's come out to be 1. So that's the meaning of define. But in the previous, if you see this one, where the error was there, in this case, this x is less than 2. There are thousands, millions of the infinite value, you can say, less than 2. So calculator, which value of x you're asking actually? The calculator is asking which value of x, for which value of x I have to write the value of x square minus 4x plus 3. So it is error actually. So define means you have to define the function, variable should be mentioned, and for particular value you have to find. Is it clear now? I think this is the question, sir. Anjan sir?
Yeah. That was the question.
All right. All right. Now we'll come to the next part. That is very, very important part.
Yes.
Now come to the menu and then come to the algebra. Under algebra, menu and algebra, there are 3 important things are there. Very, very important. One is numerical solve system of linear equation, and polynomial tool. So I'll just discuss one example with you. First, I'll come to the numerical solve. That's like, I'm not here, sorry. Go to menu, algebra, go to numerical solve. If you have to solve particular equation, that means we have to find zeros or roots of any particular function. So I've already defined the function, say gx. So I'll write gx. I'm solving gx. But we are finding the root. So equal to 0. Please remember, whenever you use n solve, it has to be in equation form, equal to 0. And we are finding value of x. So comma is here and press x. It will give you the zeros of gx. That means values of x. It's coming 1. So that is the one of the root. But how many roots are there? There are 2 roots are there because it's a quadratic equation. Now I'll tell you important thing. This root, there are 2 roots, right? Maybe one other is other. I didn't calculate it. What are the root, Anjan sir? Root will be 2x square minus.
I'll check in. You can carry on. I'll just tell you.
Yeah. So one root will be 1. Other root is, I think, what is that? Okay, whatever it is. So it will give you the root or zeros closest to origin. When you sketch this graph, this is a quadratic graph, is a parabolic graph. There are 2 roots are there, right? So one root will be 1, other will be something else. But it will give you, n solve will give you the value of x, which is closest to the origin. Like for example, if I'll take another one also. And solve, go to menu, go to algebra, numerical solve. Now let's say x square, I'm taking equation x square minus 8x. Okay, plus say 15 equal to
1.5. Second root should be 1.5.
Yeah, second root is 1.5. Yes.
Yeah. So 1.5 is the two roots of the gx. One is 1, another is 1.5. So whichever the roots or whichever the 0 is closest to the origin, it will give you that answer, not both the one. So this is also important, remember. So whatever the value of x is given, don't think it's only one value, other is not. So there are two values. It will give you only one value which is closest to the origin. Okay, for this one, and solve this equation, but comma x you have to, because x has to be defined. We are finding value of x. The moment you press enter, it will give you 3. The one root will be 3, and other will be, I think, 5.
5.
So yeah. So 3 is closest to origin. That's why I'm giving only 3, not 5. Right? So that's the one way. Okay. Now another way also, and solve. Go to menu, algebra, numerical solve. I'm taking another equation. Say x square plus x minus 2 is equal to 0, comma x. The moment you press enter, it will give you 1. Right? That's also 1. And if you have a particular range also, like you want the value of x, like here for this one, and solve. This one, let me write copy here. If I have to find the value of x which is more than 3, suppose I don't want this value, or maybe I got it. The other value I want more than this 3, right? Or less than 3. So for that one, you have to write such that x is, say, less than, say, 3. It will give you less than 3. Oh, no, what happened?
No, that is just indicating that there is more than one value in that region.
Oh, there is a one value.
That's just alerting that. Somebody had asked the question, Manoj sir, somebody had asked the question about the answer display. And now somebody asked the question, how do you see both the roots? If I can just take a minute to answer that. If the calculation mode, if you go to the settings, the calculation mode is set to exact, or you need to set it to approximate, then you'll see the decimal values directly. Otherwise, you'll get the fraction. Someone asked the question like, why is the answer coming in fractions? So when you go to the settings, Manoj sir, if you could just go to the settings, home, on the settings, and the document settings, the calculation mode is auto. Can you see that? Calculation mode. If you choose approximate, then every time you hit enter, it will give you the decimal.
Yes.
Okay, rather than giving the thing. So if somebody asked like, do we have to do the conversion and how do you get it that? So I just said, choose the calculation mode to approximate. That was one. Then second, just now somebody asked the question, how do you get both the roots in one go? NSolve is preferably, can be used for linear equations. For if you want to have more than one root, then you'll have to wait. Whoever asked that question, I forgot the name, but you'll have to wait. I think we'll cover that part in Poly2Tools. Okay. So NSolve will give you one solution at a time, one root at a time. So preferably for linear equations, the NSolve is better off. But if you're looking at solutions for higher order polynomials, it's probably not the best way to go about it. It can do, but you need to specify one root at a time, and you need to know what the other roots are. Like Manoj sir was saying, it's closest to 0. So if you want more than one root, perhaps you'll have to wait till we come to Poly2Tools, and there we'll get to know how to get all the roots in one go.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to add something here. Manoj, can you click on the battery icon on the screen next to Radian? Next to Radian, just click on this. No, not Radian. The battery icon.
Battery.
Yeah, it takes you to settings straight away.
Okay, you don't need to. Yeah. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yes, the shortcut exactly. Directly.
Exactly.
This is just amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Really. It's a new learning for me also. Thank you.
For all actually. For us.
Yeah. All right. Now I'll come to the rational fraction. Let's do it. Numerical solve. If I take rational fraction, so let me take rational function. Say x square. I'm taking x square minus say 4 divided by say 3x plus 7, and x I have to define, say minus 1 also. Let me take minus 1 equal to 0, and my x has to find it out. And when you press enter, I'll get the value of roots, real roots of this one. It's a real root, right? And if you find x equal to minus, it will minus 7 by 3. it will give you what? Error, right? Because it's asymptote. This is asymptotic function at x equal to what? -7/3, right? That's the rational. You can solve rational function also. All right. Now I'll come to this next part for the menu, which is algebra. Now, polynomial function, polynomial solve. Let me go to the next page. I think that's better. And you learn how to find the SCAD also. Control, add page, calculator. This is my third page. So if you have to go to like algebra, polynomial roots, so it will always ask degree. It's degree 2, 3, 4, 5. It's up to you. So I'm taking degree say 3. So you can make it degree 3. We want real root. Okay. And it will ask the coefficient of x cube, x square, x and constant. So let me take any equation. Say coefficient of x cube is 1. Coefficient of x square is say -4. Coefficient of x is 1 again, and constant says 6. Right? So in this case, the moment you press this one, it will come like this. The moment you press enter, how many roots? There are 3 roots are there. All 3 roots you will get from the polynomial roots. So whenever you have a polynomial functions and you want the zeros of that, you use polynomial roots instead of nsolve. Nsolve give you only 1, but it will give you multiple roots also. So that's the one way. But it give you real roots, remember. And when we'll talk about complex, you can find complex root also. All right. Now, if it's you restricted domain, you can do that also. Like algebra, find roots of the polynomial. Sorry. Yeah, roots of the polynomial. Degree, say 2. I'm taking 2 degree. Say anything 3x square plus 5x minus say 4. 5. Oh, sorry, minus say 4. Okay. Now it's come like this. And if you want restricted domain, its roots will be not it's real. Yeah. So restricted domain, you just go to control and search that x is like you want less than 0 or negative roots. So press less than say 0 and enter. It will give you only negative roots. So you can restrict the domain and you can find the roots between the boundaries also, right? It will give you all roots, but if you can do it, you can find the roots in restricted domain.
Manoj sir, Manoj sir, someone asked a question about there are 3 options in polynomials. Can you just go over that the menu again to show them what the polynomial roots? Somebody
yes, this is the real roots. There is complex root, and it will give you all roots actually. So if you want real roots, only just press this one. Complex root, when you do complex number, you can find complex root also, as I mentioned. All right. Now, the last part from my side is the last part of this algebra, that is solving system of linear equation. You can solve system of linear equation with 2 variable, 3 variable, 4 variable. It's entirely up to you. Like I'll take 2 variables. It's already number of equations 2 variable x and y. Okay, it will come like this. I'm taking 2 equations like x minus say 2y into y. Don't forget to write into y. 2y equal to say 12. And the other equation I'm taking say 2x plus 2x, sorry, 2 into x plus 3y into y equal to say -5. Right? You just type the equation, linear equation, press enter, you get value of x and y directly. X equal to 26/7 and y equal to -29/7. So this is the third key for this algebra. I discuss all 3. One more example if you want, I can just do it 3 variables, say take 3 variables. So there are 3 variables x, y, and z. One equation I'm taking here for you guys. So it's x, say x minus say 2y plus 3z equal to 10. The second equation is to x minus 3y, sorry, I think I have to just type here, it's into, don't forget to write into beta, this one. This is into 3 into y plus z equal to 20, and other third one is x plus 2 into y plus 3 into z equal to say minus, equal to say minus 12. The moment you press enter, you get value of x, y, z. All three answers will come, x, y, z. So this way you can solve, you can find the value of linear equation x, y, z in paper 2 and paper 3. If it is come, it save your time. No need to, because solving three variable equation or 4 variable equation take lots of time. If you use this, it will be easy for you and you can get direct answer. Right? So any question, Anjan sir? I just stop here.
Someone asked about the linear solve. Where do you get that? Can you just direct them again? They can also go to the key on the right hand side of 9 to get the templates. The key to the right hand side will give you all the templates for the linear solve. But no, the first key on the right hand side of 9.
The first key.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So here also you can get the options for linear solve. Yeah, that one.
Correct.
Or you can go to algebra. Just direct them to algebra and someone asked,
algebra and then solve system of linear equation. This one.
Yeah.
With 2 variables, 3 variables. So thank you very much, Mr. Anjan Chaudhary.
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing, Manoj sir. This linear solve can also be used for, even if the functions are not linear, like sometimes you might have an equation like ln x plus ln y is equal to 20 and ln x minus ln y. The value you will get, you have to be a little careful. The two values will be for ln x and ln y.
Yes.
Then you have to revert back to get x and y.
Absolutely.
So it can be also useful for such equations.
Yes.
Although they are not linear equations.
Yes.
In that term.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Anjan sir. It's now to you. I'll stop sharing.
Sure, I can stop sharing. Thank you very much, sir. Let me just allow to share my screen. I think the calculator is there. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's
yes, okay, great. So since I won't be able to see, so if there's any question, you can let me know. So let me just just start the background from where Manoj sir left. So Manoj sir primarily showed the calculator page. So a lot of calculations could be done. And I feel that the power of this calculator lies in the ability to see visuals. And I think visual is a powerful way to learn and understand. So I'm going to primarily touch on the graphs and move into some properties of graphs as well. So the first thing that I would like to do, continuing with what Manoj sir started, is I would, so obviously these were the calculations we were also checking out. So let me just remove those. So first thing, as John sir also showed, let's quickly go to menu, document, page layout, delete a page. So I don't need that. I go to the control page now and let this page remain as it is. I go to the calculator page where I want to define some functions. So let me start with the let me start with an easy one, and let me start with the quadratic. And I would like to start with the function x squared minus 13 into x plus 12. So the moment I've entered that, the beauty of this calculator is, because many of our IB questions, we don't need to type this function 10 times. So in the extended problems, this could be one expression, and I might have multiple questions that will need this particular function. So it's better to just store it once with the colon and the equal to, so that we don't have to type it again. I can now go to the page, which is again to the graph page. Here I can see, all of us can see the grid. We have options to change the grid. I think we can go to right click. There are options within that. So if I'm not wrong, we can go into the mode of
menu.
check. the menu, we go to the menu.
Menu settings.
And we go to settings. And first of all, very important to see
the grid.
Currently, we are in the line grid. We could go into the dot grid. We could go into the no grid. My calculator currently is in float 3. I will talk about that as I move on. And also one more thing I would like to talk about here is also trying to set the window in the very beginning. Because different questions, sometimes you will see in problems, the domain might be defined. So we might not be wanting to see all 4 quadrants. We might need a specific quadrant. There are multiple ways to do it. I want to show at least twice. 2 of them. We go to menu. We go to the option of window settings, through which we can change all the possible ones, starting from the X minimum, the X maximum, the Y minimum, and the Y maximum. So that's one option. We can also do a shortcut by clicking on the number, whichever we want to change, and we can change to the concerned one that we want. There is a third option also, which depends on after we draw the graph. So I will talk about that once we have drawn the graph. So for drawing the graph now, the tab key, which Sir talked about in the navigate zone, is very nice. We can just press the tab key. It allows us to write the function. And since my function was already written, this time I don't need to type it all over again. The moment I write F1, it becomes a bold. And the moment I press, now I can see, to be very fair, this function looks quite clumsy to me. Because since I have maybe I might have some idea of a quadratic function, a very critical point is also the vertex. And currently it is not visible. So we need to figure out how we can see that quickly. So I see one question. Should I take the question first, sir, or should I continue and then get back?
Go ahead, take the question. Take it.
Okay, no, there's no question there.
Sir. I think somebody just answered that. Yeah.
Okay. So then let me continue. So first of all, I need to also see that here the function is not completely, properly visible, and I cannot see the vertex. So one option is I go to menu, I go to zoom, I go to the option of fit, and I see that I can clearly see all my critical points are visible on the graph now. Before I go further, if I really want to also bold it, I can just go to the option of color. I can change the color of the graph, because sometimes we might have multiple graphs on one page. So it's nice to demarcate the graphs. So we can change it to maybe the color green. And I want to also, I can have another option here called attributes, which allows me to also darken it if I want, just to ensure that this looks a little more nice for all of us to have a visual field. A very powerful tool that comes to the TI Inspire is the option I'm going to show now, because we all are interested in critical points. And currently I've taken a very simple one. Especially in paper 2, the IB doesn't restrict ourselves only to such simple functions. In fact, we can get very, very complicated functions where it's very important to get some very important critical points. Some critical points are the intercepts where the graph cuts. And in certain cases, it would be the maximum point, the minimum point, a point where it might not have a Y value as well. So there are multiple things where the calculator can be very useful here. And we can go to menu and this option called trace. And going into graph trace allows us to really navigate through the calculator and get those critical points. So for example, we can currently see the calculator is starting from 5.1. I can just quickly move, and I could have seen the moment there was one important point, the calculator automatically highlights it. And here it's 6.5. I press enter. That point has got fixed now. And we know the minimum of this quadratic is at 6.5. And the value of that is negative 30.3. I move on. I can see the moment I will cross, the calculator automatically highlights 0. So it's absolutely very straightforward. I press enter and I'll slowly remove the point so that it looks a little better. And if I go on, there is no more critical point there. I go back now to the other critical point. The moment I go to 1, I press enter, I get the critical point. And let's go. I can see there's also an intercept on the y-axis. I press enter. All the possible 4 points are, because in quadratic primarily these are the 4 specific very important points. All 4 points are visible to us. I can now just press escape and put the points carefully in the right places so they are also visible properly for all of us to make the next questionings and whatever questions that follow from getting these critical points. Any questions or shall I move on?
No, Anjan sir, no question. Please carry on.
Okay. So this was one easy example that I started with, which was a quadratic. I want to go to another one. So let me just see little more.
There are a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Yes.
Anjan, if you can just answer this. Somebody asked, how do you access the graph settings on the handheld calculator? The settings that you just went through, I think that was what. Second, somebody asked, can you explain how to see the points again, the trace?
I'll do that. I'll do both. Yeah. So for the graph settings, I think, sir, you only said that. So go to menu, go to algebra. No, sorry. For the graph setting.
In the graph page. Go to the graph page first.
Oh, we need to just go to the graph page and then go to menu. Yeah. And we go to the option of
settings. Number 9. Number 9. Settings.
Number 9. Oh, it's already there. Number 9. And then we can easily change it to whatever option we want. So let me just go through this one more time. I just go to the graph page. So this was a calculator page. I need to first go to the graph page. I go to menu and I go to number 9. So we can even type in 9. That will be a shortcut. So it's menu 9. We can press in 9. The next question is important. So I will take that up with another graph. So let me just type in, say, F2x. Or let me rather call it as G1x. Because F2 was there in the graph. So therefore, it's coming in bold. So let me take this graph as negative x cube. So to show all the critical points, because there'll be much more critical points here. X squared plus 34 times x minus 20. I now go to so I don't want to see it in this graph because I want to keep it special for the quadratic. Let me go to a fresh page. So I go to control page, go to graph page, and this time I want to type in the G function. So I can just go to G1 X, and the graph is, first of all, the graph is there. I still see that there could be multiple critical points here. So this graph is not, but I do have some sense of the cubic graph. It could have a maximum and a minimum point. So keeping that in mind, let me just go to menu first. Let me set the graph before I go to the trace option. So it will be nice if I just go to the window zoom option and go to zoom fit. So I can now clearly see that this graph does have two important critical points where it turns and some points where it is cutting the x and the y axis. So first of all, just to ensure that we want these points, I just now go to the menu, the trace and graph trace. What graph trace does is it starts moving around, hovering around the entire graph and the corresponding points. That means that x is equal to 0, the y value is negative 20. So I don't want to see that now. So let me first see the moment I keep crossing, I see the first 0, that's a critical point. I press enter, I get the first point. I keep moving now to the right, and I'm sure there will be a maximum there. I press enter, I get that point. I keep moving, and I see there's a 0 also. I press enter, I get that point. Let me move on towards the other side. Minimum, enter. I can see the minimum. I go back to another point. There's another 0 there. Enter. I think there is one more point I might have missed out, which could be the point on the y-axis. So because the point is very close, I will then broaden the graph. Yes, there is a y-intercept. And so you can clearly see there are far too many points very close to each other. So I have an option called going to menu, window zoom, and I can do zoom box. Zoom box allows me to see only the portion that I'm interested in, and one can clearly see now it looks much better than what it was before. I can now do one more option. I can move the points closer to the concerned dot so that all of them are clearly visible to me. So I think there is any questions from anyone?
There were many questions only about the graph. I think it's the Zoom. I think many students are asking about Zoom. So maybe you can go with that. There are many Zoom settings, children, if you're listening. There are many.
So let's go through all the Zoom options. So let me do one thing. Let me just do Control Z. And so the moment I go to menu and go to Zoom, one can see there are at least 9 options and there is any option at the end. The Zoom box allows us to see exactly the portion I would be interested in. So I might just highlight that. So let me just use that option. So I go to menu, I go to the option of window zoom and Zoom box, and I only want to see this part of the picture. That's what Zoom box does for me. Let's see, let me just do Control Z. Control Z is a quick option to get back to the previous scenario. I go to menu, I go to the option of zoom in. As the name suggests, you can see it's focusing close. So let me just press enter, but can see that this is not showing exactly what I wanted to see. So let me go back to Control Z now. And let me see. So the name in and out primarily means it's trying to enlarge or going to make that graph smaller and smaller. Zoom standard, if one can clearly see, was the starting point where we started from. That's where we started the graph, but we could not see some critical points. So we wanted to first fit the critical points and then get their coordinates. So that's the work of Zoom standard. I come to Zoom quadrant 1, as the name suggests, it will only show quadrant 1. And Zoom fit primarily talks about ensuring that all critical points are visible on the graph. Anybody would like to add anything more?
Someone just asked, Loki asked, what is the difference between Zoom box and Zoom in? Actually, you need to, like I said, it's a user preference, like what is your need? If you're trying to, like Anjan said was just explaining, if you're looking at a particular region, if you want to look at a particular region, the box is a better option. So then you can highlight that particular region with the box and go in. Zoom in, perhaps where you have, 2 x-intercepts very close, depending upon how the graph is. Then zoom in will work better in that case. I mean, Zoom box will also work, not to say that. And like I said, just play around with the different Zoom settings. There's also Zoom data. When you're doing statistical graphs, then Zoom data would be much better for that. Zoom trig is for trig graphs. Someone asked me the question earlier about trig. Can we do trig graphs? So just play around with it. It's fun, and it's. I don't think there's one Zoom setting that is for everything. All right, you got to learn and try out everything, and according to the scenario, one of them will work better than the other one.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing here, John. Like I always talk about aesthetics graph. So what I usually do, I zoom out everything, and then I choose my area and I use my Zoom box to zoom into that part.
With Mr. Jalaj, everything has to be very aesthetic. I mean, that's good. That's very nice.
So, no, I think I agree with both of you, sir, because primarily, it also depends on the scenario of the problem.
Yeah.
So, it also sometimes the domains are defined, and if they are very close to each other, I do agree that it's also a matter of preference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think the point that you raised, I think, is pertinent, that the entire agenda of such machines are to also have fun with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And therefore, the word explore comes in. So the more we explore, the more we learn. So I completely agree with you. In fact, I have one question, if I may ask, that, this one was a challenge. I was thinking about it. It comes as e to the power -11, which one can see one of these points, which is the point where it cuts the x-axis. This point is almost close to 0.
Correct.
But it's not showing 0 on the calculator.
Correct.
So we are also thinking on it, why this is happening. Hopefully, I should be able to answer once I have cracked that. Why it's not coming 0? Is it because of a setting issue?
Go to the menu, go to the settings. Yeah, use Jalaj's method of going to the settings. Go to the battery.
Yeah, go to the battery. Yeah.
I like that. Jalesh, thanks. Huh? Something new I learned today. Go to the battery.
Yeah.
The battery on the right, next to radiance. This on the right hand side. The here on the where it says radiance, you know, where you can toggle the toggle
radian, battery icon.
Top right hand corner, radians and degrees.
No, on the screen.
On the calculator screen.
Oh, on the calculator screen only?
Yeah, just click that. This is magical. Something new I learned.
So this just beside the on.
Just click that green battery. You'll go to the settings page.
No, but I'm using the one. Which one is the
where you are?
Oh, I got it, sir.
Right top.
Yeah. Go to document settings. All right. Now on the calculation mode, you are on auto, right? I think here somewhere there might be for the scientific form or something. If you 1 second, calculation mode. What is go down? I think you're good. It should give you 0 perfectly, because if it was something like auto or something, then it would give you something like this. If it's approximate, then it should be good enough. I don't know. Let me work on it. Okay, we'll get back to the students later on if you want that 0.
This one was quite a nice challenge. So maybe we'll just talk a little more on it later. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So there's another option which I think is also very good with this calculator, because certain specific problems, they come with certain domain. The GDC actually allows us to fit that. So maybe let me just put one more function. And this time I want to put with a restricted domain. So suppose I want to go for, this time I want to go for e to the power x. So as Manoj sir shared, this option pi is a very important option to get the e to the power. So now I go to e to the power, and now I go to say e to the power x plus 3. And this one I want to go between 0 to 5. So I go to the option of control equal to the line such that, and this time I want to give between 0 to 5. And now if I just go to the graph page, and I this time want to go to tab, and the function was h1x, I just give h1x, one would clearly see the function will come between the set of values 0 to 5. You won't be getting the values beyond that. In fact, there's a very interesting option here. If I go to the option now of menu, and I go to the option of table, I do get a chance to see the table as well as the values in the side. So let me just show you that. Let me just cancel this once and show this once again. It's a very powerful tool to see both the graph and the table together. So allow me to just go to menu and just remove this table here. Let me open a fresh page for that. So I go to control page, I go to graph page, and I want to just see for the hx graph. So let me first give h1 and x graph. I can see the graph. So obviously the value was between 0 to 5. And you can see exponential function increases in a very rapid manner. So my y value is not visible beautifully on the graph. So here I would definitely like to see what the zoom options will do for me. And I can see zoom fit quickly does the work in no time. And now if I go to menu, go to the option of table, this one was quite interesting. I could see post the value 5, all of them came undefined. Although we know exponential function is not undefined at 6. But since we gave the restricted domain between 0 to 5, there was no value coming. And since 5 was also not included, you could see it was between 0 to 5, 5 not included. Therefore, they have not given the table value for 5 also.
There's a very interesting question. Someone, I don't know the name, asked in Anonymous. They said next to that battery icon, I'm glad they were exploring. They said there's a setting called login. What does that mean? And so I was just typing that answer right now. For those of you that I don't know who the name of the student is, login, that is for the option of something called a navigator. I mean, you'll not know that because it's a different instrument. It's not about your calculator logging into something, but it's a local hotspot. That if you have a navigator, then the classroom teacher, in your own classroom, all calculators can be logged into one specific hotspot, and there can be brilliant exchange. What you are doing on your calculator in one corner of the room, if you're sitting, your teacher can then have You don't even have to come out. It can be displayed on the screen in front of everyone because it's all connected to that one little hotspot. It's a beautiful thing. I'm sure Hassan and Revati will talk to you about it later on, but that's logging into that local hotspot when there's a group working together and each one can share their work and you can see someone else's work. They don't need to come and show you their handheld, but it can all go up on the screen and, there's a lot of interaction. You can send documents to each other. The teacher can send you some files. You can work on it and she can collect the work back. So that's the login feature for that.
Thank you, sir. I think that's really nice. And the best part about this machine is that there is no end to this learning. I think I completely agree with you that the more and more we explore, there is so much more. Just in so few.
But Anjan sir, I think because Revati also mentioned as students are learning, one thing I would like to see answered or explained before these kids, whoever there is leaving is, we spoke about you and Manoj sir explained about defining functions, adding pages, but please share with them what is so crucial about this adding pages. What will happen when I add a new problem? What happens to that?
I was just coming to that. Yes.
Right, cool.
I was just coming to before I go to the next function, let me just add to what Sir said. Sometimes there's already been so many pages that has got added. So they are all part of one question. I want to go to a new question. So I can just go to document. I can go to the option of, just go to the option of insert. And there is an option called problem. The moment I go to the option of problem, and I say press calculator, it comes to the new question. So that means all of them are part of the first question. And it's very useful for the IB program because especially in the question extended problems, you might have 3 extended problems in paper 2. And the first one might need 5-6 pages to be used. So you want to keep them. And once you start with 2.1, if you now type in F1 again, they will not take in the old function. The moment you want to use the same variable here, you have no problem. You can type in another F1 function here. So let me just do that. So if I now type in F1x, and now let me type in a new type of function, the rational function, because rational functions now have become very meaningful. They could be also linear by quadratic type. So let me just take one function, thrice into x minus 1 upon, say, x plus 2. One can now see the moment I go to control document and go to graphs now and type in the function f1x, one has not taken the previous f1x. So it's nice to remember that every time we have a situation, it is better to open a new problem depending on the scenario in the exam. I can see there is one question that has come. Oh, okay. No question so far. Yes. And so now one knows that in a particular rational function like this, there is an asymptote. So we do know that there is a point in the domain where the y is not defined. It's nice to go to the option of trace. And then there's another option here when we can go to the value of tables. And here we can see that the value was not defined at -2. One can clearly see at -2, the value is not defined. So it is possible to also in this GDC, once we track some of these options, they can be easily seen. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So the next part. Okay.
Not now. Please continue, sir.
Okay. So the next part that I want to take up along with this is why is
somebody asked a question about how to create 1.422. Somebody asked about the problem. Asmit Gupta asked how to create. Can you just repeat that?
I'll just show that one more time. Yeah. So just to do that, so let me just show, let me go to menu. Sorry, let me just go to from the beginning. Let me go to document. I go to the option of insert and there's an option called problem. The moment I press page, it will give me 2.3. But there's a shortcut for page through control and the option of document. Here, to create a new problem, I just type problem and I say I want to go to graph. One can see I start at 3.1. That means that will be the beginning of the third problem. So suppose in the third problem, I want to take up, because obviously the entire agenda of doing functions is also to do some transformations. Because the moment we do this chapter, these two come together. So suppose, let me just do one thing. Let me just go back to this. I want to remove this first. Control, document. I just want to quickly show the option. So let me just do 3.2 is where I do the calculator page. And suppose I want to just type in a very simple function. And let me say, because f of x, and I take the function to be x squared. Now what I want to do with this one is, first of all, I want to type in fx, but I want to show many other properties now. So I want to show at least 5 to 6 properties of transformation in one, and we will understand many concepts through the graphs in no time. So let me just show a few of them. So the moment I've got the function fx, now I want to suppose explain the notion of vertical movement. These graphs really explain these very quickly, and this holds for any possible functions. Suppose I just do another one. Suppose I do the option of f. I want to see the horizontal movement. Because at the end of the day, there are many, many operations that does happen together. And the beauty of these graphs is they come with that unique color. So the black color is for this one, fx minus 2. Let's do one more. Suppose I want to now do negative of fx. It just reflects the graph. Suppose I want to also do, let's do some more. I want to do modulus. So I know Manoj sir talked about this option where I can press the, and I want to now go to modulus. I now see the graph of modulus is exactly on the actual graph, because for the x squared graph, whether we do modulus or no modulus, it turns out to be the same. So these are good fundamental understandings. One can see one graph is highlighted over the other. We can't see the blue graph because the blue graph is actually below the green graph that has taken precedence now. Now, all of these graphs, actually the moment we press tab, is all visible in the history menu in the corner. So the moment we go to the history menu and we want to see only one graph, we can also click on that and even hide it. The moment we press the hide option, we press this, we can see that graph is removed. We go back to the history menu again, and we want to say we want to remove the F5 graph. We just click that option and we can see we have only seen the original graph. We go back to the tab option, one more very important type of graph, which I think students face a lot of difficulties in understanding. It's very important. This particular GDC helps us to see the graph of f modulus x, because that's sometimes a little tricky for the students. What's the meaning of the modulus within the function? Here I would say if you look at this particular graph, it's again identical, exactly with the normal function. So because whether we take x positive or x negative, finally the y value remains the positive in this case. But let's change the question and let's suppose we do the same for x cube. Because at the end of the day, we are expected to be investigating, and investigating is a very, very powerful tool. So let me now go to a new page, control document, graph page. Suppose I now do the gx graph. Now I want to see g of modulus x. Let's see what happens. It's great fun to just explore these options. And because it truly enhances the understanding, one can see the negative part has got reflected in the positive part. And now one can understand even by plugging in some random values just to understand the nature of this changing graph, which is in blue, which is the modulus of the g function inside. That means the x values have become positive. Any questions from anyone?
Yeah, sir, there is one question in Q&A. Can you please quickly touch on the trace graph and other option in the graph page, which you explained in the first
Okay, sure. So what I'll do is, Hassan, I'll just show through the slider option. I'm going to come to that. So through the slider, I'm going to do that.
Definitely.
Okay. So the next very, very powerful tool. So let me just open and let me just go back to document, insert, and I want to open a new problem. And this time I want to show a very powerful tool of this machine. So let me type in a function now. And I want to show this time, I don't want to give any specific value for A, B, and C. So I want to keep it to, and I want to show the changing nature of ABC. So I now go to the control document, I go to the graph page, I press the option FX. I see a huge thing that comes to me is creating a slider for the values. Now, what is the work of a slider? A slider gives an option to change the values of A, B, and C and see how the change of A does change in the graph. So the moment I've got A, let me just remove them and put them in the right places. So I go to the option of B also, I move it a little far, and I also go to C and try to keep it. And now I want to see what happens if I only want to change A. We all know that this changes. So suppose I now go to the option of changing A from minus, we can see the quadratic has changed, the concavity has changed, and the moment I go to 0, it will become a straight line. Now I want to see for more values, I have shortcuts for that, or I can just go to the option of settings and I can change the values here. Suppose I want to see from minus 10 to plus 10, and this time I want to also see for decimal values. And often you need to see that. You can also see now if you change the values of A and you move on, it's going to move 0.1 times. If you move the point B, it shows the movement, what B does to the graph. And if you move the point C, it shows the entire vertical translation that takes place. Now, just showing also the trace option here. Suppose I now go to menu for this particular graph. I want to see the trace option. I can see the moment I come to that point, which is the vertex, I press enter, I get the minimum. I turn, I press enter to the y-intercept. And those are the two critical points because this particular graph does not cut the x-axis. The only problem in the slider option is, suppose I use slider and trace together. Once I change the points, the two critical points for the next graph are not exactly the y-intercept and the vertex. So therefore, it is very important that when we are using sliders, we might not be wanting to see the trace option with that at that point. But if you want to see the option of trace separately, one simple option is I can just I can draw another graph because I had a quartic graph ready as well. So one could just see this quartic is quite interesting graph that we wanted to discuss. But let me just type it quickly. X to the power 4 minus 4 times x cube minus 5x squared and the last point is minus 2 into x. One can now see the moment you have typed gx, let me go to a new page so that the graph looks better. And the option was gx. One can see there are multiple critical points here. So for a repeat, I would like to go to menu. I would like to go to first the option of window zoom, zoom fit. I can see this time quite a few critical points are not visible. So maybe I might prefer to go to the option of zoom box, take the critical area, and I can see there is a lot of changing points here. So one more option that I can do here is that we press Ctrl Z to go back to the original picture. And here I might want to also change the coordinates. The change of coordinates will allow me to see the graph and also see the lower points. And in this case, because the lower point is quite below, I can just type in and I can see that I can look at the 3 critical points. Now I go to the option of menu trace, graph trace. I can see that I will surely get a 0. I can press enter there. I can go down and there is a minimum. And for this graph, there is also a 0 there. Again, I see the same problem. It is giving me 5.82 into 10 to the power minus 11, which is almost close to 0. I need to figure that out. I'm still working on that. Why it's not giving 0? I'll surely get back once I've cracked that. I would now like to take the questions.
Anjan sir, there is one question. Sir, how did we get different sets of dock altogether, like from 3.2 to 4.1?
Okay, so that one is quite easy. Yeah. So let me just take that question first, sir. So that option is very simple. First, you go to control. You just press dock. Just hold on.
Control up arrow.
You go to the option of dock. You go to the option of insert, problem, and you can now press whichever you want calculator. You can see it creates a new problem. And it starts with the problem 5 now. What was the second question, Manoj sir?
Yeah. Second question is, can you show how to input the slider?
Sure. So let me take another example for that. So what I'm going to do now is, I want to take a rational function. So let's take a rational function. So I want to press Control F. A into x plus b upon c into x plus t and press. Now obviously a and b I've already got in quadratic. So let me change that to e and f. And c also I've already got. So let me make it h.
I think, sir, f is also there. F changed.
F is also there. So let me now make that to maybe r. So I've got the function now. So now I go to the control page and I want to open a graph page and I want to type in the function hx. The moment I type hx and press enter, the calculator is going to ask me for the sliders. The moment I press OK, I can see this particular one I had given for E, R, H, and D. So I am going to go slowly on that. So let me first go to E. So I can now go to the option of first moving the sliders and keeping them in the right place, because I don't want to change all of them together. Hassan, I have one question. Why are they not showing the option of E, R, H, and D?
Sir, H is not visible. Why? Because you have defined Hx and you have taken H there.
So what should I do?
So just go back. Just go back to the calculator page and just change H to some other value.
Oh,
because you have defined Hx. You have defined Hx as a function and you have taken H as a variable here also.
Okay, so I think so what should I call it as?
You just copy and paste it to a new line. You just copy and paste to the new line and just change H to some other alphabet.
Okay. So maybe I could call it as Y, right?
No. This H, the alphabet H has to be changed to some other value in the denominator.
Okay, so instead of X, maybe I need to call it as something else, right?
No, H.
Oh, I think I've got an H there also. So let me just make it into I, right?
Yep.
So I just make this into I. So let me first do one thing. Let me delete this one. And now I've got EX plus R. Let me call it IX plus D. And now I go to the page. Now I go to this one. I will surely see that. Let me go to tab. So let me just do one thing. Let me do this on a fresh page. So let me just go to a new page. So let me go to control doc, add graphs, and I want to type in the function hx. I can now see that the other three have been taken from the last graph. So better option would be let me do one thing. Let me remove this one. Let me start this all over again. Let me remove this 4 points. So let me just go to control, doc. Sorry, let me just go to the option of doc.
You can add a new problem and you can do that there.
Delete page, or it's better if I go to a new problem, but it's okay. I think that will be better if I go to document, page layout. Sorry, I go to insert and I create a new problem. And this time I give the option of calculator, and now I give the option fx. And I now go to the function option, a times x plus b upon c, because these are rational functions. Seeing the movement of all four are very critical. So now I go to control page, go to the graph page, and the moment I type in the option of fx, I would see the 4 sliders coming in. Now, obviously they're looking a little clumsy. So I choose each one of them and I move them to the critical places. And one can now see the graphs have started coming in. So I can now move all of them and let the D be there only. So now I can see, suppose I go back to the graph, I know one of the values where x, the problem in the denominator, it's going to happen at minus d by c. So had I not taken c below and only taken x plus d, I could have also seen what would have happened if I made the d to be 0. I could have seen all now. The beauty of this one is I can see what is b doing. So if I look at this graph, the constant b, and I've kept all 3 fixed, what is it really doing to the graph? I can see all the critical features. Suppose I want to see what does a do if I keep changing the value of a. Suppose I want to see what does d do, how the graph changes. In fact, it's very powerful. Here I see the value of d is equal to 1, c is equal to 1. Let's see what's the function actually gets divided, because 3x plus 3 upon x plus 1. So it becomes a constant. It passes to the point 3. One can see from this one. So it is really a very powerful tool. And let me tell you why it's powerful these days. We are in the investigative paper, in paper 3. They might actually give us scenarios where we have to draw many sliders to understand the notion of functions. So therefore, it is very important to know this powerful tool of sliders and knowing how to change values, getting the picture and drawing it on your notebook. You don't have the time to draw it by hand. That much time is not there. I want to conclude today before I take some questions. I want to also show the power of intersection points. So let me just quickly go to the next page. So I just want to go to control, document, control, graph, and let me just type in 2 functions just to show the notion of the intersection of graphs. So I would like to take up, let's take x squared. So let me just see, because here is something very powerful when it comes to intersection. So let's say this one is one graph, and say let's draw one more graph. So let me go to the tab option and let me press minus now, x squared plus 4 I see they are meeting at 2 points. This calculator gives me these 2 intersection points very quickly by going to menu, go to geometry, go to points and lines, and go to intersection points. In the corner of this calculator, it always tells you what to do. This is the power of this calculator. You don't have to mug this. Click on the first graph and then click on the second graph. So I click on the first, click on the second, and you can see both the coordinates have come in no time. Obviously, these are build-up questions. Once you get the intersection point, you can draw tangents, you can calculate the derivatives. So many powerful things can be done primarily using the GDC when it comes to paper 2. I would like to conclude and then open it up for question and answers. So let me just get a chance to just show what I had done and where the power of this GDC lies. So let me go to document. Let me open so let me just remove this. And I go to document. I go to file. I go to open document, something that I did. I go to webinar. And let me just go back. There was a lot of, so this resource will be shared for the students once I share with Hassan. I would now like to show that these were two things we did as activities. So I actually modeled the Indian flag. So effectively what I did was I actually plotted points on the flag and found out the equations of the lines and the circles involved. And this was one powerful tool which the GDC does. On another day, I might take up a bit of how these can be calculated, but this is very powerful. And another one that we also did was, I wanted to find the center of Gandhiji's specs. Obviously, one can see the specs is very small, so you can enlarge the specs. You can really focus on the specs. What I wanted to show is the GDC allows you to choose points and actually use the tool of geometry, which again on another day we can take that session up and find out the center of Gandhiji's specs. Now, when you are working with problems, you are supposed to work with real life scenarios. So I just wanted to show you two such activities, which particularly this GDC is very powerful in. On that note, I would like to stop here. It's close to 4:50. So I'll open it up for question and answers. And Hassan, please, if you could ask whatever the students would like to know.
Yeah. So, sir, there was one question, like when you do trace, do you press the middle button of the navigation pad or you just use left, right to navigate on the graph?
Okay. So do you want me to show that?
Yeah. So if you can just show.
So I'll just do one thing. I'll just close this and open a new calculator page. So I don't like Scratchpad. So it's better to go to a new document. I like to go to the calculator.
And so students, you are unmuted. So if you have any question, you can just unmute yourself and you can ask.
So let me just go to the function page. Let's just type in a function quickly. So let me just show that. -3. So now if I go to the back, escape is the option, control page, control graph page. The function is fx. So let's just type in fx. So now you want to say how do you move? So we go to menu, we go to trace, we go to graph trace. And now you can use this option also, I think. This will also allow you to move. And you go to the 0, press enter, keep going. Now you want to go from whichever direction you want to go. You can easily go. You have missed out the minima there. So let me first go to menu. Let me just zoom out because I can see there's a critical point there. So now the graph looks much better. And I go to escape. I go back to the menu, trace. Now I want to go to the vertex, so I can go backwards, press enter, and the minimum point is also there. Was that the question, Hassan?
Yes. And one more student asked, like, how did you paste picture from internet on the grid?
Oh, okay. That's quite straightforward. So that should not be very difficult. I can just tell you. Well, because I'm using the teacher software, which is an app, or you can call it, because it's based for the computer. There is an option here. Once you go to the option of insert, and you can take an image, and the image could be anywhere. I think I should be having, I can insert that image. I think, let me just check. Yes, I think I should have that. I could insert image.
Wonderful.
And so this is a beautiful modeling tool. So obviously one can use that. Obviously that is a huge discussion. We might do it on a separate day because modeling itself could take 4 to 5 sessions. It's such a powerful tool when it comes to modeling.
Anyone?
By the way,
yeah. Continue, sir. Continue.
Yeah, you guys do the IB program, so you know exploration involves immense modeling. So GDC actually can do a lot of modeling for you.
Someone asked, like, will there be more webinar like this? Definitely. Each alternate week on Saturdays, we will be having the webinar for IBDP. So stay tuned. We will be sending you the invitation, lot of mails where you need to register for each webinar. And we will be taking the topics from your curriculum and we will be discussing on these platforms. Okay, so stay tuned with us. We will be sending you the webinar links or for the registration. Any question?
Hassan, there is one question. Can we do the intersections again? Can I show that?
Yeah. There is one question. Like,
yeah. So I'll just open another. I'll just show that quickly. So just go to the option of Control Doc. Go to Graph page. So let's type in 2 graphs. Let's take our linear this time, and let's just go to Tab and maybe take a quadratic. So one can see there are 2 points of intersection. So there are 2 ways to go through it. One option is I prefer the geometry option, points and lines, intersection points. It comes in the corner. Just follow the instruction. Click on the first graph, click on the second graph. So click on the first, click on the second, you will get both of them. And then once you press escape, you can now move the points and you can see clearly. There's a second option also. So let me just do Control Z. Control Z is the quick option to just go back. We can go to menu. We can go to Analyze Graph and Intersection. So I want one intersection between these 2 points. I click. I can see the first. Again, I go to Menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection. This time I want the other one. And I got the other intersection also. I prefer the one through the geometry option. So Menu, because you get that very quickly, geometry, points and lines, intersection points, and you get the intersection points. By the way, I can see Jalad sir is here. The entire notion of Gandhiji's, specs and flag goes to you after last week's Shashi Tharoor's hairstyle. I have talked to that with so many of my students. They have truly got inspired by seeing that photograph.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir.
Anjan, one more thing. There is one more way to find point of intersection. Can you do like undo, Control Z?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, just press P. P from your...
Yes, press P.
Okay, go to point, select point. Now just hover your point over this point of intersection.
Wow. Wow, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That was another new thing today. Fantastic. Thank you very much, sir.
Call me Jalaj.
Thanks a lot, Anjan sir. Thanks a lot, Manoj sir, for having for participating in this webinar as a speaker. And thank you all the students. One student asked, like, sir, voltage adapter. So we do not recommend you to use the adapter. Kindly charge your calculator using a USB only by connecting it through your laptop or computer. Do not use any other adapter other than Texas Instruments, and Texas do not recommend you to use any other adapter. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if any, do you have any question? Like, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. We still have 4 minutes.
So
yeah.
So I have a question. Can you please show the sliders again?
Sliders, okay. So can you tell me?
Can I just show it quickly, Hassan?
Yes, sir. Can you tell me?
Yeah, sure. That won't take too much time. So I just go quickly. So let me just type in a slider here. So I just type in this time, say A into. So the power of slider is, I am not defining a value of A. So I am just typing in AX plus B. I now go to a control page, graph page, and the graph was for GX. So let me just go back to GX. Oh, yes. The moment you press enter, they will ask you for the values of A and B, because that's the 2 values which is in your control now. The moment you press OK, it is already by default giving you -5 to +5. Now, you might not want between -5 and +5. You might want between 0 and 5. So I'll show you that option also. Just give me a minute. So you just first move them properly because they look nice. And now there's two shortcuts. One is you can click on that and press 0 and enter. You can see now it starts from 0 to 5. Second option is you can go to the option of settings and say, suppose you want this time from -10 to 20. And this time maybe you want a value of 0.1. And by the way, I wanted to show one question. I will share my presentation because that question is there, where the value of m between 0 and 1 has a lot of impact. So sometimes you might want step sizes to be in decimal. Press OK. You can now see, once you keep changing the values, you can see the complete motion of the graph and how it's changing when B is fixed. So that is the huge power role which the slider plays when it comes to the TI Nspire. I hope I have answered your question.
Any other question? Regarding the software, you just need to go to the education.ti.com website to download this beautiful software, which comes free with your calculator. Okay. The license key is provided with the calculator. Okay. All you have who have just bought the calculator now or a month ago, inside the packaging, we have given you the license key. Keep the packaging with you, and the license key is there, and you can download download this software from education.ti.com website. Any other question before we wrap up?
Sir?
Yeah, yes, Loki.
So how will the recordings be shared, sir? Is it email address?
Yeah, recording will be shared to your registered email IDs. And we will also upload this recording onto our YouTube page, which is Numerical Analytics. Okay, so you can search for Numerical Analytics YouTube page. We have a lot of videos there already uploaded, and this webinar's video will be uploaded to YouTube, and the link will be shared by you all who have participated today. Any other question? So, sir? Yeah.
So how long does this course of webinar takes? 2 months, 3 months?
We are planning right now to have 1 more month with this webinar series. So till October 30th, we will be having this kind of webinar series for IBDP. So in October, we will be planning to have 3 more sessions for IBDP.